Hey guys, and welcome back. So today I'm going to be talking about Buffy the Vampire Slayer Season 2. We made it, guys. We finished Season 2. It was a phenomenal season. I really enjoyed it. So much craziness happened, such insanities, and God, just like the final episode was very emotional and a lot. So yeah, this season was a lot better than season 1. I mean, I enjoyed season 1 a lot, but this was really just like way more cohesive, and we had a way better villains even. Everybody was more fleshed out. We had a lot of character development, and yeah, some truly amazing moments and scenes and episodes. Thank you to everyone who submitted some questions. I'm gonna try and go through all of them. I am very much so prepared. Like, look, I made so many notes. I don't even know. I don't know why. So the most frequently asked question was, what was my favorite episode? What was my least favorite episode? And I decided to just rank all of the episodes. So yeah, sorry, this is gonna take a while because there are 22 episodes, and I'm gonna go through all of them. Alright, so coming in at number 22, to no one's surprise, Bad Eggs. I mean, I feel like that's just collectively our least favorite episode. I mean, what happened in it? Nothing. It's just so weird. Like, the monster of the week was just so pointless. And then we had these random cowboy vampires, which is kind of fun and interesting, but they never really went with that anywhere. Like, I'm not sure if, like, the brother who survived is gonna come back next season or at some point, like season 4 or 5. I don't know, but it really didn't add too much. The only thing I think was going for it is, like, once you've seen Surprise and Innocence, it is like a little bit of a setup to that, because they obviously talk a lot about like consequences to having sex, and Buffy had sex and then there was a massive consequence to it. So yeah, it sort of sets things up in the future, but yeah, it didn't really do anything for me. Coming in at number 21, Go Fish. Again, what was this episode? It was just so weirdly placed in the season. Like, this was placed right before the double finale and nothing happened to the overarching plot. Like, the previous episode left off with Spike being able to walk, like the revelation that he's actually is faking being in a wheelchair at this point in front of Angel and Drew. And then it didn't go anywhere. Like, next episode, we didn't even see Spike, and we barely had an Angel in it. So yeah, it wasn't great and just had way too many... I don't really want to say the R word because, you know, trying to stay monetized, but I'm gonna call it grape without the G. There were way too many grape jokes in this one, so really not a fan of it. I did enjoy watching the coach die though, like that was fun. Oh, and the joke about the Soviet Union, or like not even the joke, but just like when the coach went like, oh yeah, after the fall of the Soviet Union. It's just, that is the randomest thing I've ever heard. It's like, oh yeah, of course, after the Soviet Union fell, I found these schematics that could turn people into fish. So I decided to do it. Okay. So yeah, that was quite funny, but otherwise, yeah. Then coming in at number 20 is Reptile Boy. Kind of the same reason, way too much grape stuff in it. Wasn't a fan of it, you know, just like college-aged people taking advantage of high school-aged people, because, you know, when you're still in high school, you're still quite naive and don't know any better, so didn't enjoy that. And it was really scary seeing Buffy so helpless because she was drugged. I was just like, oh god, the scene when she was on the bed and the other guy was just like, didn't like that. And again, the monster was like, you know, a phallic shaped snake, so it's like kind of on the nose, but also the thing I kind of enjoyed was the fact that there were like humans who were evil in this one, which is always kind of nice, because it's always kind of fun when a supernatural show does like real life villains, like human villains, because it's always like, oh yeah, don't forget that people can also be monsters. Like, there are real monsters and then people who are monsters. So I enjoyed that aspect of it, but yeah, grand scheme of things, not a good episode. Coming in at number 19, Inca Mommy Girl. again, this is like early season 2, so I think it was still suffering a little bit of like the season 1 treatment, where it's like Monster of the Week, very like sort of contained episode, like nothing that was like really overarching for the season. But I really did enjoy the parallels between Buffy and the Inca girl, because how they both had to die at a young age for the greater cause. Like, that was a cool parallel, but I don't think they've done too much with it, so it was felt more like a waste. Like, I rather we had focused on that instead of like Xander and the mummy together, because God, poor Xander had like zero luck with women at the beginning of the show. Like, he was just like praying mantis, a mummy. It's just like kind of awkward. Oh, but of course this was the episode where we got to meet Oz, so definitely gets points for that, because Oz is the sweetest guy and I love him. Coming in at number 18, this is going to be controversial, but it's Bewitched, Bothered and Bewildered. I just really, this is like the one episode where I cannot separate it from like the metaphors or analogies for real life. Like, what Xander did in that episode, I just still really hate it. And like, I was thinking about the episode last night, and there's really just like, no matter what happens in it, like the funny bits, I just feel so uncomfortable watching it, and I just really didn't like it. I really didn't like what Xander did in that episode. I just didn't like the whole thing. I just, like, that episode aged so badly, and I'm not gonna be able to like just excuse it like, oh, it was like what, 20 years ago, like, oh, it's fine, people didn't know better. But like, the things that happened, they were never fine. Like, it was never okay to do any of those kind of things. Like, it was never okay to take a woman's free will away from them. Like, that was never like, oh yeah, that's a completely fine thing to do. Like, no. So yeah, I know people like that episode, I know people like Xander, like, but you know, that's completely fine. Like, isn't that great that we're all individuals who can like and enjoy different things? Like, to me personally, as a woman, I hated it. So yeah, I haven't really changed my mind about the episode and everything I said in that video, but it's all good. Like, we can all like different things, and that's completely fine. If this is your favorite episode, good for you. If Xander is your favorite character, awesome. Like, I'm so happy. Like, Xander has great qualities as well. I just really despise this episode. Coming in at number 17, Some Assembly Required. I feel like this is also a bit controversial, because I don't think a lot of people like this episode, but I don't know why. But the ending scene where the Frankenstein monster runs into the fire where like his lady love is, and then the brother is just screaming, that really got to me. Like, it really made me so emotional, and it was just so sad, because like the circumstance of that happening, like, the guy just died and his brother wanted him back because his mom became super neglectful and he was just missing his brother, and then he just wanted to give him like a companion so that he wouldn't be lonely. The basis of that wasn't bad, right? Like, what they were trying to achieve, up until the point they started killing people to get to the body parts they needed. Like, at that point I was like, okay, like, I'm not on their side, and especially not on the side that the little weasel guy, the one who wasn't like the family member, like, he was just in it to hurt women, and we're never here for that in this household. So they were of course villains, and you didn't want them to succeed, but it was still kind of heartbreaking, and I really enjoyed the story. And also, Jenny and Giles went on their first dates in that episode, so I always love some good Jenny and Giles moments. Well, loved them is the better way to phrase that. Coming in at number 16 is Killed by Death. I actually really enjoy this one. Like, I think, again, this isn't like a very popular one, and I think it would be like a lot lower on some people's lists, but I really liked the things Cordelia was saying to Buffy about like how maybe Buffy is just looking for something to fight because death is the only thing that she can't fight, and you know, coming in at the heels of Jenny dying and Buffy not being able to stop it. I think she was probably dealing with a lot of guilt, and then also realizing that her cousin was killed and she wasn't able to save her. I think there's like a lot in that episode, like emotionally, and I really, really enjoyed it. And Buffy's cousin screams. That's something that haunts me to this day. Like, that little actress gave it her all. Like, she didn't have to go this hard, but she did, and I respect her for it. Because I think I said this in my wrap-up, but a lot of the times when like a show tells you that something horrific and they describe it in detail, like while they're describing it, it does sound like super scary or intense. But then they end up showing it, and then it's just such a letdown because like I could make it more scary in my mind, but not this time. This one was way more horrific than I ever could have pictured. Like when Giles was describing how the Kinderstone kills, I was like, okay, this is so scary. And then they showed Buffy's cousin dying, and I was like, oh, this is horrifying. Like, what the hell? So yeah, I thought it was a really good episode. And also something I noticed later on, it's kind of interesting how Buffy snapped the demon's neck. Like that's like, I don't think we ever saw her like kill in that way, because she either, what has she done? Like she stakes vampires. We saw her with one of the demons in What's My Line. She hit it with her skates. Yeah, she like usually stabs them with swords and stuff, but I don't think I ever saw her like physically snap a demon's neck. And it's kind of interesting that this is right after Jenny's neck was snapped. I don't know what it means. I don't know if it was intentional, but it's kind of interesting to think about, like the first time we see her kill a demon the same way as like Jenny was killed previously. I don't know. Interesting. Coming in at number 15, I Only Have Eyes for You. This was again a very good episode. I really, really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed that we saw Giles sort of grieve Jenny. That's kind of what was missing for me from Killed by Death. Like I didn't feel like we got to see Giles too heartbroken, or I don't know, it felt very like, I don't know how to say this, like I just didn't feel like it was that big of a deal for Giles in that episode. Like obviously it was, and we saw him, you know, when Joyce was giving him her condolences, like you could see that he was like really sad and suffering. But I just felt like in episode 19 it was just really like put to the top, where he was expecting Jenny to be there and he wanted to commune with her, and then he was carrying that rose quartz around everywhere, and like he was just not even caring about what like Buffy and Co were doing. He was just so in his own head about things, and he was just like, no, you guys are wrong and I'm right. And it was just kind of sad to see. But I also, what actually really love about this episode is that it's never specified whether both James and Grace are here or not, like as ghosts. Like we don't know if it's just James who acts out the scene, like he plays both parts, or if Grace is also here. And I like both like theories equally, because to me, if it's just James, then like my original sort of analysis is correct, where it means that Buffy is looking for forgiveness for herself. Like she wants to, she needs to forgive herself for what she did to Angel. Like even though it's completely not her fault, she could not have known what would happen. But it's also understandable why she feels guilt. And being possessed by James, who was able to relate more to Buffy because they were both looking for forgiveness, which is really interesting, and I really like that. But on the other hand, if Grace is also here, that means that both James and Buffy were looking for forgiveness from the partner that they technically killed, right? Because James killed Grace with a gun, and technically Buffy killed Angel, and now Angel is possessed by Angelus again. Like Angel is technically dead and gone at that point. Yeah, they're both looking for forgiveness from the people they hurt. So yeah, I don't know which version I prefer. Like, of course, we're not gonna get an answer to this, but I like both of them equally. They both give something unique to the episode, and they're both very interesting to me. Coming in at number 13 is What's My Line, Part 1. We're getting to the point in my list where like these middle episodes could be completely interchangeable. Like these are all episodes that I really enjoyed and I really like them, and it was really difficult for me to figure out which one to put where. But I decided to put this one here because even though it's a good episode, it's mostly a setup for Part 2. We had Buffy and Angel go on their date, and then they got attacked by that demon, and then I don't even remember what else happened. I feel like it was really just a setup. I did enjoy Buffy being sort of scared for the first time, like when Giles told her about the 3 that are after her and how scary they are. And yeah, it was kind of interesting to see Buffy so like nervous about a threat. So I enjoyed that aspect of it. And of course we got the introduction to Kendra and the fact that there are multiple Slayers now, like there are 2 Slayers, which was really, really fun. But again, like this really just kicks off in part 2. So yeah, good episode, but mostly a setup. Coming in at number 13, School Hard. This was a really fun episode. I always enjoy a hostage situation episode, like I think they're always fun. And of course we got introduced to Spike and Drusilla, and it was the first time we got to really see vampires have some sort of humanity in them, like that they were a couple, and like they kind of treated each other as equals, right? Because we have seen vampires work together, but it's usually like a leader and then his minions. So it was like a really interesting dynamic between Spike and Drew. And then also we are wondering like, why is Drew being so weird? And yeah, and also they killed a child, which was just great because I don't know, the annoying one was very much so annoying. And I also just loved the Joyce hitting Spike with the axe and telling him to stay away from her daughter. Like, it was really cool to see Joyce be part of the action a little bit, and you know, of course, going back for her daughter and saving her. Yeah, that was really fun. Coming in at number 12, Ted. I love this episode so much. I don't know what to say about it. Like, I just really enjoyed everybody's performances. I enjoyed that the monster was super close to Buffy. I enjoyed the drama of Buffy thinking that she actually killed someone. Like those sort of minutes when she was at the police station, when she was at school, when she was talking to her mom and she was like, I'm so sorry that I did this. And it was so good. It was really, really well done. It was so sad, and yeah, it's a little bit disappointing that Ted wasn't actually human. Like, he could have been a human who still poisons the cookies and has still killed women before, or like his wives. But I also understand that maybe it's better for Buffy that she didn't actually kill a person, because yeah, that might have been a little bit much to start dealing with, like, especially now that I know how the season ends. Like, imagine if Buffy had killed a human and she's dealing with that, and then she loses Angel, and then Jenny dies, and then she has to kill Angel. Yeah, I think that would have been a little bit too heavy for the season. I mean, it was already quite a heavy season, so yeah, I understand why they went with the robot idea. Also, this episode has the greatest kill of a vampire of all time. Giles pulled an arrow out of his back and stabbed the vampire. I mean, a badass. Just a straight up badass. Coming in at number 11, Halloween. This was, again, a really fun episode. I think it was really fun to see the characters play different versions of themselves. Like, I really enjoyed Buffy sort of being helpless and just like a damsel in distress, and then Xander was being an extreme badass. And it was also like fun that his knowledge as like a soldier in this episode ended up affecting an episode later on. Like, I think, was it Innocence? I think. I'm not sure. I can't remember what episode it was, but when he went to the military base and he was like, oh, I still remember this from Halloween. Like, I really enjoyed that. Like, it's so fun to see that something so small had like such a big effect later on. Oh yeah, it was Innocence because he got the rocket launcher. I really enjoyed that. That was also like part of this episode that you didn't even realize was going to be a payoff, like 7 episodes later. So this is also the episode where we meet Ethan Rain, get a glimpse into Giles' dark side. I pretty much lost my mind when I saw Giles start beating up Ethan Rain, and he was just so casual about it. Like, I feel like up until that point, we haven't seen Giles do too much. Like, he was always trying to help, of course, but he mostly just got knocked out by monsters. So, like, watching him be so scary, I really enjoyed that. Like, I thought it was, like, a really cool twist because I was like, oh, I wouldn't have expected this from Giles. So, yeah, a really good episode overall. Coming in at number 10, Phases. This was, again, I'm sorry, I keep saying this was, again, a really good episode because at this point, they're all just good episodes. Like, from now on, everything is just a great episode. And this one was, I really enjoyed the focus on Oz. He's one of my favorite side characters, and he's just so sweet. And it's kind of funny to see that he's the one who ended up becoming a werewolf. So that was really like unexpected, but I like how chill he is about it. Like, he's just such a chill dude. He was like, I guess I'm gonna have to start chaining myself up, but it's all good. And we also got our first Willow and Oz kiss, and they're just so pure together. I love them so much. Coming in at number 9, Lie to Me. I just love it when the main villain of an episode is someone close to Buffy, or has some sort of tie to her, like more of an emotional tie. And I really enjoyed Fred. That cannot be his name. I don't think it was Fred. That doesn't sound right at all. Ford. It's Ford. Okay. I also went with Todd, and I was like, Fred, Todd. Oh yeah, Ford. Put it together. We got the name. It was kind of the first time we had to see Buffy kill a vampire that she used to know and used to like. So it was quite emotional, and I really enjoyed the talk at the end between her and Giles, where Buffy was like, lie to me. And it was also the first time we saw like Spike give up his plan of killing Buffy for Drew. I thought that was like super interesting because he really had the upper hand there, so he could have let Drew die and kill Buffy. And I was really shocked to see that he really just cares about Drew a lot. Like, it's very interesting to see that some vampires have more humanity in them. Like, even with the judge. Well, was it Judge? The blue monster? When he touched Angelus had 0 humanity, but both Spike and Drew have some. So it's super fascinating. Coming in at number 8, What's My Line? Part 2. God, what a fun episode. Like, seeing the contrast between Kendra and Buffy, like how different Slayers can be. I love their different personalities. It was so cool to learn more about Kendra and how she was living, how that she knew that she might be the Slayer one day, so she was sent away for training. And it was just a really fun episode, except for, the worm monster. That was so gross. But this is also the first time we saw Xander and Cordelia kiss, and who knew what they would turn out to be. Like, they actually a pretty cute couple. So, and that episode had like the best ending shot of all time, like Drew wearing a black dress carrying Spike out of the church was so cool, and really gave you an indication of like, oh man, Drew is gonna be a crazy villain that we really need to look out for. And we really should have been looking out for her. Coming in at number 7, When She Was Bad. I just really, really loved the portrayal of Buffy and how she was dealing with her trauma from the previous season. I really wasn't expecting that, because a lot of the media I've seen so far, it's always just like trauma gets brushed under the rug by the next episode. Like, characters never seem to really care that much that something traumatic happened to them. They just seem to be like completely fine. But not with Buffy. Like, we really got to see her deal with all of that. And I just really enjoy psychological stuff, and it had some crazy moments. I mean, we had Xander threatening to kill Buffy because Willow was kidnapped. I was not expecting that, like, especially because last time we saw Xander, he confessed his love for Buffy and he saved her life, and now he was still willing to put Willow first, which was like so surprising to me. I was like, oh my god, I was not expecting Xander of all people to say that to Buffy. But I enjoyed the drama of it so much. And then we saw Buffy torture a vampire, and that episode was really just great. I really enjoyed it, and it had a very satisfying conclusion with Buffy destroying the bones of the Master and finally starting the healing process. Coming in at number 6, The Dark Age. You guys know me. I'm a Giles fan. I love Giles so much, and I love that we had an episode completely focused on him. It was really cool to see his backstory, and I kind of thought it would be something darker just because his nickname was, the Ripper, but I guess it's just more of a play on Rupert. But even though it wasn't as dark as I thought it would be, it was still so cool, and his sort of dynamic with Ethan Rain was really fun, And then, God, just the horrifying thing with Jenny and being possessed, like Jenny being possessed by the demon, and then Ethan Rain freaking tattooing that symbol on Buffy. Again, I really just enjoy when there is also like a human who's evil and is working with a demon or something. Like, it's just always kind of fun to watch those episodes. Coming in at number 5, Surprise. So much cool stuff happened in Surprise. I really loved the opening sequence, like the dream sequence. I thought that was really well made. I really enjoyed the music and the dramatic killing of Angel. Like, that was just so fun. I really loved, like, really the close-up shot with the hands and then the rings, like the claw rings falling to the floor and Angel turning into dust, and then Drew is just like, "What's up, Buffy? Happy birthday." I loved it. And then we found out about Jenny, or like, I guess Yana, and how, like, where she came from, and that she was part of the tribe that cast the original curse on Angel, and how she's been lying to them. And then we also had Oz actually finding out that vampires are real and officially sort of becoming part of the gang. And then just the ending. And then to be continued. I'm still not over the fact that I didn't realize this was a 2-parter. So I was just so caught off guard. It's like, to be continued. And I'm just like, what do you mean? What do you mean? So, yeah, a great episode. A+. Coming in at number 4, Becoming Part 1. This is when things started to go crazy. Oh my god, so much has happened in this one. I mean, the last 5 minutes of it were just a whirlwind. I mean, Willow got hurt, Xander got hurt, Kendra died, Drew has like these new powers that we haven't actually seen before, where she was like controlling Kendra, and Giles got kidnapped and Buffy got framed for murder. I mean, and that was like the last like 5 minutes. So, whew. But yeah, I really loved all the flashbacks in this one as well. Like, it was cool to see how Angel got turned when he got the curse, how he decided to like be a good guy and start helping Buffy out. And then I loved seeing Buffy like get the news that she's the Slayer, and then her first ever vampire killing. It was really, really cool. I really enjoyed it. And now we have arrived to our final 3. So coming in at number 3, Innocence. This episode was so good. I think this was really like the first episode of the season where I was like, holy, like this is amazing. Like, this is truly a brilliant show. Like, I loved so many episodes prior to it as well, but this was just really like so heartbreaking for Buffy. Angel, like David Boreanaz's acting as Angelus was so phenomenal. Like, you really couldn't make the mistake of thinking that that was Angel. Like, he was just like, his mannerisms and everything about him like completely changed. Like, you could really tell that that's not the guy we knew from before. And also the coolest scene ever, where Buffy pulled out a goddamn rocket launcher and shot the judge with it. I was like, hell yeah, that was so cool. Chef's kiss to that scene. Chef's kiss. Coming in at number 2, Passion. So, you know, you guys might be sadists, but I'm clearly a masochist, because why is this so high up on my list? Like, this was the most heartbreaking episode. One of the most heartbreaking episodes. So, God, I mean, I just think that what Angelus did with Jenny's body was so well done. I know, but it was just like truly the most evil thing that could have been done. And I appreciate them going that extra mile. I just appreciate it, because it really, really showcased how twisted Angelus really is. Because we have heard the stories, like we've heard and seen a little of what he did to Drew. It was good to see that he's still doing the same exact things now. And even though that was that was so heartbreaking. Giles coming home, smelling the rose, like when he was fixing his hair to go up and be with Jenny. He never even got to say I love you back to her. I hate Angelus. I hate him so much. But yes, the episode was excellent. It was excellent TV, excellent drama, maximal heartbreak. Good job. And of course, the number one slot goes to Becoming Part 2. I mean, did you think it was anything else? No. I mean, that episode was going 100 miles the whole time. Like, we didn't get off the gas once. It was just blow after blow after blow after blow after blow. Like, we started with Buffy getting almost arrested and then running away. And then we had Giles being tortured, Willow in the hospital, Spike and Buffy team up, Joyce finding out about Buffy, then kicking her out of her house, Giles being mentally tortured by seeing Jenny. That scene traumatized me. Like, that scene is so funny because two separate people asked me about it, like, what did I think of it after I've seen the episode. And both times I forgot that scene happened. Like, both times my brain went like, oh, right. I clearly got so traumatized that my brain was repressing that scene. Oh, that's truly just like, I don't know. I thought that was so horrifying. Like, Giles' face when he saw Jenny, he was just so happy. Anyway, let's move on before I start crying. And then Buffy killing Angel, who got his soul back first. So, maximal pain again. Why not? So yeah, that was a really good season finale. Like, I really loved it. And then, Buffy leaving at the end. Like, where is she going? When is she coming back? Who knows? What I did find really interesting that I didn't talk about is that Drew tackled Spike when Spike was beating up Angel. I thought that was kind of strange. Like, I was just thinking about this, how in Innocence, I think, Drew was sort of torturing Angel and she was clearly hating him for what he did to her. Like, she was mentioning how her mom used to sing her a song and like she ate lemons and he killed them all, and how upset she was and how ready she was to kill him. So it's kind of interesting that somehow in the end she still chose Angel over Spike. I think it's quite an interesting sort of look into the dynamic between an abuser and someone they abuse, like how easily you can actually fall back into the same routines and pitfalls with the person who abused you when you get near them again. Like, she was sort of, getting better and she was with Spike and she was, hating Angel. But then once Angelus was back and he started being his old self with Drew, she sort of fell back in love with him or something similar to that. So yeah, I think that's really interesting. And yeah, I really enjoyed these like very nuanced aspects of the show where you maybe miss it the first time and then you watch it again and then you realize, like, you start making connections that you weren't making before. And I really love this show. Like, this show is truly just excellent, and there are so many little things in it that you don't even pick up on. And then once you do, it really just elevates the show to a whole new level, even though it was already like high enough. So yeah, that was the episode ranking. Let me know if you guys agree with me or not. Probably not on some of them, but I think we can all agree on the best and the worst episode. Like, I feel like that's very universal. And then everything in between is very much subjective. Alright, so a lot of people also asked me about like my favorite characters. I'm gonna do the same thing, go from worst to best. I think worst for me is Angel. Like Angel, normal Angel. Because, okay, so I really thought that Buffy and Angel were endgame. Like, I thought that's what we were gonna go, that's what we were gonna be doing. And to be fair, David Boreanaz and Sarah Michelle Gellar have like really good chemistry and they're really cute and seen together. So I was really looking past the creepiness of Angel actually being with Buffy, because I was like, I don't want to hate the biggest ship on the show. Like, I don't want to hate Angel because that's just exhausting, and it's just easier to just, think of them as adults because like that's how the actors are. So that's just kind of what I was thinking. But now that Angel's dead, it's like what we saw in the flashback, that he started stalking Buffy when she was like, 15? And he was watching her in her own bedroom. That's just so freaking creepy, guys. Like that is like, I hate, like, no, that is just really gross. And he's just so much older than her. And I don't know how old Angel was when he got turned as well. Like, I think his original age was also like older than Buffy. And it's just really creepy because 15, it's so young. 16 is so young as well, and so is 17, but just 15. And he never even told Buffy. That's kind of what kills me as well. Like, he never even told Buffy that, oh, by the way, I knew you were a Slayer long before we met here. I saw you in LA, and I've seen your bedroom there. It's very cute, you know? Like, let me just give you some interior design tips. Also, I mean, Angel is kind of meh. I mean, the guy is kind of boring. Like, there's not much to Angel besides his cool past, like as Angelus. Like, that was really what made him interesting. But besides that, he's always just sort of like there, leaving cryptic messages and not doing too much. So yeah, not my favorite character for sure. Then the next one is Xander. Xander is a character for me who I either really dislike or I really like. Like, he can never be in the middle for me. Like, he's like a goddamn metronome swinging from one end to the other so fast that I get dizzy. But yeah, it's just like Xander, he has some really funny lines and he's very loyal and he's very brave. But he's the one I can't really relate to in any way, shape or form. Like, he's a very typical teenage boy, and well, I was never a teenage boy. I was never even like a normal teenager. Like, I was very, very much so just like a boring person. Always like just be at home and have fun with my mom. So cool. Very popular girl. Can you tell? But yeah, I just can't really relate to him. But he's still fine. Like, I still like him. But I just like other characters more. So the next one is Cordy, actually. And it's really surprising that I'm saying this because she was definitely on the bottom of my list last season. So I don't know what happened. Like, she really had such a cool growth this season. Like, I think she had like the biggest transformation. Like, she started as very self-centered and shallow and, you know, only thinking about herself. But she really came so far. And I really enjoyed that. And she's still quite funny and really quite insightful. Like, I liked both of her insights into Buffy's sort of psyche, where she was in Killed by Death saying that, you know, Buffy is just looking for an excuse to find something because she's sad and is grieving. And then in I Only Have Eyes for You, she said that Buffy was sort of projecting her own issues to this case, or like the ghost, like James and stuff. So yeah, I think she's come a long way, and I'm really excited to see how far she can even go. Next one is Oz. I mean, he's just so cute. He's so precious. He's such a good guy. I loved when Willow was like, you want to make out? And Oz was like, I think you want to do this for the wrong reasons, and I don't want to kiss you in that way. Like, I don't want that to be our first kiss, and I'm willing to wait. And I want to date Oz. I just want to date Oz. He's very precious. Next one is Willow. I mean, again, precious, so sweet, so cool, and now dabbling in dark arts. So I don't know if that's gonna be something that's gonna be happening next season as well, like Willow trying out more magic stuff. But she was really, really cool in the last episode, and I think she has been getting like very much more self-confident. Like, we saw her interrogating the Jonathan, I think, in Go Fish. And yeah, she's just becoming much more of a badass. Like, she used to be very shy and meek, and she's really just coming into her own, and I really just love that for her. I just love it for her. Like, she's becoming a very strong, independent woman, and I love her for it. And she's just adorable as well. And then the next one is Buffy. I mean, what else can I say? She's our queen. We love her. We respect her. She's so good and cool and has to deal with so much at such a young age. I just feel so bad for her. I mean, this season has been so hard on her, but she's a trooper, and I'm sure she's gonna come out on the other side stronger than she was ever before. And then my favorite character, it's Giles. I just love him, and he's also been through so much this season. I mean, God. He got together with Jenny. Then they broke up because he put Jenny's life in danger. And then they got back together. And then they broke up because Jenny lied to him this whole time. And she hurt Buffy's feelings. And Giles is always just putting Buffy first. When they were debating if they should give Angelus his soul back. And Giles was like, well, that was Jenny's last wish. But he didn't really say that, like, that's what I would want to do. Like, I think he very much so would have wanted Angel dead. But he was still willing to be like, I'm gonna be on Buffy's side because essentially I want her to be happy and her happiness is more important to me than like my own revenge. And that's just, I love him. But yeah, I love all the characters. Like, they're all great. They all have something going for them, and they're all like really fleshed out and three-dimensional, and that's really just all you can ask of a show. Then I have some more specific questions, and Kyle asked which characters have grown on me, and of course it's Cordelia. Like, I kind of touched up on it in my favorite characters section, so yeah, it's definitely Cordelia. She grown on me so much. Like, she used to be my least favorite character and now she's not. So Kyle also asked who my favorite monster was, and I'm gonna have to go with Ted. I thought that he was really, really good, and it was like a really cool setup. It was cool to see that he was someone so close to Buffy and someone so close to Joyce, and that episode was really, really well done as well. It was also just really fun to see John Ritter as an evil guy, because he's usually a comedy actor, so it was really cool to see that he has the range. Honey, he's got the range. Rachel asked who are my favorite ships, and I mean Rachel. Who can I even choose? There are 2 ships on the show. The other ones have been murdered, so out of the 2 ships, I definitely prefer Willow and Oz. I just think they're really cute and adorable together, and they just really match each other so much. And then the number 2 spot goes to Xander and Cordelia. Again, they also really match each other, just like in a very different way. And I feel like, to me personally, that's like a more stressful relationship that I wouldn't really want to be in. Like, I know they're play fighting a lot, but I don't know. It just seems too excessive to me. But it really works for them, so, you know, whatever works for you, works for you. Then Buffy McBuffyface asked what was the biggest surprise for the season for me. And I have to say, I think Angel turning back into Angelus. I really wasn't expecting that to... Like, I wasn't expecting the curse to be broken. I didn't expect to see him again, so... Yeah, that was a really, really cool and fun surprise. They also asked what was my most beloved and hated scene. My most beloved... Okay, this is where like my masochism truly comes out, because I think it's Giles finding Jenny's body. It's heartbreaking, but it was it was so well done. Like, it was so well shot, so well acted. The music choice was perfect, and that's when I knew that Angelus is like a very real threat, and he could do so much damage. And he did. And my most hated scene, I think it's probably Joyce rejecting Buffy. I understand that it's a shock to her, but saying that if you walk out the door, don't even think about coming back was just so wrong and really messed up. So I'm really sad that that's how she reacted, and I understand like it's based on kids coming out to their parents, and it's a very real thing that can, like, it's a very real reaction from parents, unfortunately. And yeah, I just really hate that, because like, you're wrong as a parent. If you do that, you're just completely and utterly wrong, and you suck. Faith asked if I prefer Angel or Angelus, and I'm gonna have to go with Angelus. Angelus had so much going for him. Like, he was so creepy, he was so much fun to watch. Like, David's acting was truly phenomenal, and he was just very, very scary in like a whole new way to Spike and Drew. And it really was like, he really didn't care about anything. He just wanted to cause pain at any cost, and like the most amount of pain he could cause. And I think that was really interesting. Like, it was really fun to watch. And Angel is just a bit, you know, he's just boring. Just a little bit. They also asked what my favorite flashback was, and it was definitely the one with Buffy, and when she learned that she's a slayer, and when she slayed her first vampire. Like, I didn't think we were gonna ever get that. Like, I don't know why. I just didn't think that was ever gonna be something we get to see. So I was really surprised, and I really, really enjoyed watching it. And yeah, I wish it could have been longer because that was really, really fun. And then of course I got a lot of questions about like what my expectations are for season 3, things I would like to see. So I'm gonna refer back to my list. I want to see Drew come back and die on screen. I just want to watch her die for what she did to Giles, to Kendra, to probably that poor puppy from Passion. I don't have high hopes that that puppy is still alive somewhere, so yeah, I just want to watch her die. I don't want her to disappear forever. I don't want her to die off screen. I want to see her dead. I also hope that we get to see where Buffy went. Like, I'm hoping that it's not gonna be like a flash forward like 3 months from now, because so we had the finals in season 2, so I'm assuming now it's gonna be summer break. And last time we of course did like a 3 months jump over summer break, and I'm just hoping that's not the case now. Or like, even if we do jump ahead in time, I'm hoping that we're jumping ahead to where Buffy is right now, and it's not just gonna be like some flashbacks sprinkled in at some point. Like, I just want to see her where she is and what she's going through and what she's thinking, and I want to see, I don't know, people worried about her. Yeah, I think that could be like a source of like some good drama and good TV. I do also hope that we get to see maybe a little bit more of Spike. I really enjoyed his team up with Buffy, so I don't know if he could pop back in for like an episode or so and then just work with Buffy again or something. I don't know. I feel like that could be fun. I really enjoyed their dynamic. I also hope both Giles and Buffy can find themselves new love interests. Like, of course not straight away, but I just want them both to be happy and just to be in love again and have someone that they can share this crazy life with. Also, I'm hoping that this time Buffy's gonna go for a more age-appropriate partner, because let's try not to go for like a vampire or an adult or something like that. Let's just go for someone from your own age group. Yeah, someone 17, 18 sounds good. I also want to learn more about Snyder and the mayor and like the police chief. Like, I want to know what they know exactly, why they hate Buffy so much, because once Snyder expelled her, he called like someone and he was like, you need to tell the mayor that I took care of the problem. Like, I want to know why they hate Buffy so much. I want to know if they think that Buffy is a monster and that's why they wanted her out, or if that they're just evil and Buffy was in their way because they knew that she was the Slayer and they can't do what they want to do with the Slayer there. Yeah, I hope we get some answers. Like, I think next season is gonna be like their senior year, right? Like, because they started in sophomore, then they had junior, and now they're in senior. So if they follow the same pattern from before, then this should be like their final season in high school. And then after that, I'm assuming we're not really gonna have Snyder anymore. If he survives, I don't know if he survives or not, or if he's gonna have the same fate as Bob. But yeah, so we're gonna have to like delve into that at some point this season. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I really want to figure it out because, God, Snyder is just so... I want to punch him. I also hope we get to meet a new Slayer. I mean, now that Kendra's dead, I'm assuming a new one has been called. I don't know how they're gonna do it. Like, I don't know if it's gonna be the same as with Kendra, like that she comes for like an episode and then leaves and then comes again, like comes for like those bigger episodes with like a bigger threat, like a very apocalyptic threat, or what, because I don't know if they can have realistically 2 Slayers on at the same time. Like, because 2 Slayers are quite overpowered, right? Like, Buffy is already like so good on her own. If we had another Slayer, like, who could be a big bad? Because together they could easily just defeat a lot of things. Like, I feel like yeah, Kendra died, but she only died because she was alone. Like, if Kendra and Buffy were at the school, they could have, I think, easily defeated everyone. Chess Summers also asked, I hope I'm saying that correctly, I have no idea. I used to work at Starbucks, so like, it was in my job description to be terrible at names, so... Anyway, they asked what my favorite relationship is in the show, and I'm gonna take that as like, non-romantic one, and my favorite relationship is definitely Buffy and Giles. And they've grown so close this season. They really do see each other as like father and daughter, and I just love how much they love each other and they want to rescue each other. I mean, the scene in Passion where Buffy hits Giles, and then they just sort of fall into each other's arms, and she's like, I can't lose you too. Pain, just pain. I love them, and I love their relationship. And I mean, they're the two of my favorite characters, so anytime they're on screen together, I'm just like really happy. They also asked what the funniest moment for me was in the show, and I have 2 runner-ups, so I'm gonna say my runner-ups first. Okay, I don't know why, but I love the line in Bad Eggs where Willow and Xander go to the library and give the egg to Buffy, and Buffy is like, oh, okay, so like, who am I partnered with? Like, who am I gonna have to take care of the egg with? And then they're like, well, you see, there was an uneven number of students, and because you weren't there. And then Buffy goes, I'm a single mother? I don't know why that line makes me laugh so hard. I don't know if it's Sarah Michelle Gellar's delivery or just, I don't know, it's just such an absurd humor, and I really, really enjoy that. And the other runner-up is when Xander is like, I know it's like what to crave a freshly killed meat and the urges you get to kill. And then Buffy is just like, I thought you said you didn't remember anything. I did. Huh? It's so good. I cackle every time. It's just such a funny line. But my favorite moment, I'm a big fan of like physical comedy. So yeah, I'm gonna play you my favorite moment because this is like, I can't describe it. Like, you just have to see it because this is the best.
Hi.
Right? Like, it's just so funny. I die every time. It's just so absurd and so hilarious, and I love Giles' reaction. I love the flying of all the papers. I love Willow being just like, hey, stop. I love that scene. It's really funny. And the final question I got was asking if I would recommend the show to friends, because how a lot of people stop watching it after first season because it isn't that great, and if I think that watching it until the end of season 2, like, the payoff is good enough and that it really does get as good as everybody says it is. And yeah, I would absolutely recommend it. I mean, now that I finished season 2, I understand what you guys are talking about, like how good it gets and how much better it is. But as someone who like is watching it for the first time, I thought season 1 was really good. I really enjoyed it. Like, yeah, it was a little bit cheesy and campy at times, but it had still amazing characters and amazing world building, and I thought it was great. And even after season 1, I would have recommended it to friends. But knowing what I know now, like, yeah, payoff is amazing at the end. It really does get so much better. And I understand now, like, why people wouldn't necessarily want to always rewatch season 1 episodes, because they're very different from season 2, especially the second half of the season. But again, as someone who had nothing this to compare it to, I really like season 1. Like, now, of course, like, I definitely rank season 2 higher than season 1. So yeah, I definitely tell everyone to watch this show because it's brilliant, and I'm so happy that I decided to start watching it as well. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. That was it. That was all my thoughts on season 2 and the upcoming season. I'm really, really excited to get back into it. I want to know so bad what happens to Buffy. I feel like we're only gonna get better and better and better from here on out. So yeah, thank you to all my Patreons for supporting me. As always, you guys are the best. I really appreciate every single one of you. Thank you so, so much. And if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like, leave a comment down below, and subscribe to my channel. And I see you guys in season 3. Bye!